Hello, Allison Ziegler here, and you are joining me for this week's episode of Princess Interrupted. I am feeling so in my energy, so in my element. The breakthroughs are breakthroughing, and I am just so excited to see the way that my life and the lives of my clients have already been shifting. The start of the new year can feel like this arbitrary reset point, this point of like, okay, where have I been? The calendar tells me I should set goals. This is the way that it's got to be. And I want to really challenge you to shift this perspective and to shift this energy. My intention for this episode is to get you to a place where you actually finally believe that things are going to be different and that today is the starting point for the rest of your life. And I truly love using this as a tool to intentionally create up levels. Whenever I'm looking at my circumstances, I think, how incredible is this story, is this breakthrough, is this moment going to be from the other side of the experience? What I struggled to realize for so long, and what I really encourage my clients to remember, the challenges in your path are your path. Your path is designed with these challenges because you're meant to be the person who is on the other side of them. This doesn't mean that you can't dream bigger. It doesn't mean that this is how it's always going to be. But when you look at your current circumstances and your current reality, and there are things that just do not align anymore, great. They don't align with the version of yourself that you currently are, but they are things from your past that may have been lingering and need to shift. And there's been certain areas of my life where things have been more difficult to manifest than in others, particularly relationships and my business. And I know in my soul, those are going to be two of the areas in my life where I look back and they are the biggest blessings. I don't want to set this precedent that you need to struggle in order for something to be successful and worthwhile. I don't believe that it needs to be like that, but I do believe that if there's an area of your life where you have struggled, where things have felt difficult, where things have felt challenging in ways that they haven't in other areas, I believe that this is an area of life where you will have knowledge and wisdom that wouldn't have otherwise been available to you. Every adversity, every failure, every heartache carries with it the seed of equal or greater benefit. When you look at these areas of your life where things have been hard, where things haven't worked, where you've had to really learn in ways that other people haven't had to, you have so much more embodied wisdom and knowledge when you're on the other side of that. And I really challenge you to not identify with the struggle. Your desires are your desires because they are of your heart. So keep this in mind. When things feel challenging, when things aren't going your way, when you wake up and it's another day of more of the same and nothing's changed and you poured your heart and soul into creating something and it didn't land, or you went on a date and you thought it was great and you didn't even hear back from him, it doesn't mean anything. One of the biggest assets that I've really cultivated this year is this inspection mindset, where I go into inspector mode when things aren't going my way. And instead of taking it personally, instead of making it mean something, I'm able to identify from a neutral perspective what's happening. I'm able to look at the circumstances and ask questions about, okay, this situation doesn't align with how I see myself. This situation doesn't align with my thoughts. This situation feels outdated. I'm surprised that things like this are still happening because I no longer align with a reality where that feels like it should be possible, but it's still here. What do I do? So just looking at it and starting to really embody the perspective and the mindset of being on the other side. This is the biggest takeaway that I hope you get from this entire episode, is learning to embody the energy of the version of you on the other side of your perceived struggle or your perceived challenge. You've tried everything, nothing seems to work, relationships don't work for you. What are you really believing that is on the other side of this transformation for you? Let's say that you've been trying to get a new job. What do you actually believe is on the other side of this transformation for you that you do not have right now? And I want you to write this down and I want you to get crystal clear. The easiest way to tap into this, in my perspective, is to journal in present tense as if it's already happened. As if you've gotten your dream job and you not just got the offer, you've been there for a month. And to get so crystal clear specific about what that environment feels like, and not just what it feels like from an external perspective, but what it feels like in your body. Makes you feel successful, makes you feel seen. You start to tap into what that feels like in your body. It feels like peace. It feels like a breath of fresh air. it feels like this sense of I did it. By viewing this as something external that needs to manifest that isn't here yet, you're keeping it separate from you. It's the equivalent of the carrot, where it's always in front of you because it's not within you. So what you're doing is you're switching the dynamic and you're bringing these feelings and these emotions into you so that you are energetically a vibrational match for that which you are desiring. I'm not going to lie and say that if you want a relationship and you start feeling the ways that you would feel in a relationship, it's immediately going to bring a partner into your life. I don't believe it works that way, and I also don't believe that it should work that way. I have a lot of experience with this because for the longest time, that was the number one thing that I really wanted to manifest. I wanted my partner above all else. I felt like that was the one thing missing in my life. I also felt like that was a solution to all of my problems. For a long time, I really felt like just getting my man was going to make my life so much better. And I've had a lot of really healthy relationships over the years. They haven't necessarily been particularly long term, but I've had a lot of really pleasant experiences in relationships. This didn't used to be the case for me. Relationships used to be an area of my life that was just so strife-ridden, painful. Every relationship just was such a deep lesson. As we talked about that quote in the earlier part of the episode, that pain didn't feel like it came with any benefit. And the way that I was going about it, the way that I viewed relationships, it was never going to result in what I actually wanted. Because of these years that I've spent by myself, even though I was actively manifesting a relationship, probably until the last 2 years when I gave up alcohol, when I stopped trying to manifest a partner because I needed to focus on what my life looked like without alcohol. And then I eventually got to a place of self-love where I was no longer filling a void and no longer felt like there was something outside of me that I needed to make me happy. And then the relationships started to come in that actually felt really fulfilling and good and were actually really pleasant experiences. And even when relationships didn't go the way that I wanted, there was a guy I dated for a few months and then he kind of ghosted me and it wasn't cool, but I was able to hold that. I was able to experience that, and it was like a blip. It felt like a paper cut in terms of the pain, whereas before it would have felt like a stab wound to the heart. So with that, I started to attract more high-level quality people into my life, and dating became this part of my life that was fun. And it's still a desire that I deeply have, but I know in my soul that I get to experience that, and I'm not going to let the absence of that in this present moment take anything away from me right now. When you listen to people at the end of their life, the key thing of what's missing is just appreciation of the present moment and just true presence and making the best of what life is presenting you with and realizing you had everything you needed in this moment, even if it didn't feel like it. And just adopting this mindset of understanding that everything is somehow serving you. Even if it doesn't feel like it, it's leading to your next step. Everything will make sense in hindsight. So how can you cultivate that in the present moment and truly appreciate where you're at? Because you don't know what it's going to look like when you look back. But I can tell you that the only thing that you are in control of right now is your energy, your mindset, and your perspective. In this episode so far, we've identified why where you're at is actually going to serve you in the long run. And as soon as you adopt this perspective that where you're at's okay, it's not something to be fixed, it's something that is going to work out, your challenges are going to be your triumph, and the fact that you have the ability to tap into the version of yourself on the other side of the challenges. There's one more piece that I really want to share with you that is the glue that holds all of this together, that never ceases to amaze me, is the impact your subconscious mind and your subconscious thoughts have on your ability to shift your reality quickly. Your subconscious is your subconscious because you're not consciously aware of it. These are the things that you don't even have awareness around changing. That's why I always say the first step to changing anything is awareness, followed by the desire to change. Those are the two initial ingredients that you need. But with the subconscious mind, things can shift instantaneously and can happen so quickly. I want to share a story about a client of mine who we did a subconscious limiting belief session, and we released these 5 core emotions. It's this practice that I work with NLP. It's one of my favorite techniques that I use with clients. And we released these emotions within her, and she had been looking for a job for the previous 6 month. And she got not 1, but 2 job offers. The first job offer she wasn't crazy about, but she decided that she was going to take it. It was better than nothing. She was just going to go with it. And as soon as her energy shifted, she started to notice changes that she was making around the house. She was putting away things that she hadn't, like finishing home renovation projects that had just been ignored for years. She got an interview and a job offer within 24 hours in the same day. Now, this isn't coincidence, and this isn't something that just happened. She changed her subconscious beliefs and changed her point of attraction. And because she was willing to change the way that she was operating on a subconscious level, these things were able to be magnetized in a way that previously was just a painstaking process. You better believe that this really reaffirmed my belief in the subconscious process and the power of the subconscious mind. After doing this one session, having a client see such tremendous results was pretty wild to me. I want to share my own personal example that was so validating in so many ways. I was with my mom, and she needed to find something, and we were cleaning out some old paperwork, and there were letters. So my parents got divorced when I was 3 years old, and there were letters that were kept as evidence from the divorce. A letter that I found that was talking about me when I was in elementary school. In the letter, I was referred to as unconfident and unsociable, and that was why I had to go to private school. I looked at this letter with all these limiting beliefs saying like terrible things, but things that I had heard on a daily basis. And this other letter calling me unsociable and unconfident. And it was just so validating to see it written, because our subconscious beliefs are invisible. The naked eye, like as I said, they're below conscious awareness. But seeing written out the things that had been on repeat was so validating, because I could see where it originated, and I just got to this place where I realized there could have been no other way. It was this place of self-love and this place of almost responsibility to my former self, my childhood self, who had no tools or resources or way out to do what she was never able to do, but also to step beyond and say, I don't need to operate from this outdated programming anymore. I don't need to believe what these people said that weren't even true. I don't need to buy into this story that there's something wrong with me and how I operate. I may have lacked confidence, but it was because of what I had gone through as a child. There was nothing wrong with me. That was how I coped with my parents' divorce, was shutting down, I stopped talking. That's why I have so much expertise in helping you up-level your self-confidence and your self-image, because this was something that really held me back for a long time, that was so deeply ingrained, that was a part of an identity. But it was so interesting that as I started to clear out these negative limiting beliefs in my own reality through working with a coach and doing different processes, doing breath work, the external reality reflected that, and it was all coming up for clearing. That's the other thing to keep in mind as we close out this year, as you start making shifts, as you start making changes, is that your external reality will often reflect the processes that you're undergoing internally. When these things come up, we thank them for bringing this to our conscious awareness and our conscious intention, but we let them go, and we don't hold on to them, and we don't make them mean too much. So I hope that this episode helps you with resetting, with understanding the process for if you're at where you don't want to be at, it's actually serving you in getting to somewhere greater, and understanding that your subconscious mind is a shortcut to this entire process. Your subconscious mind will get you there so much faster. And the reason that it's so important to work with a coach on these issues is because the coach has laser focused vision into the words that you're using, the ways that you're speaking, and can just call things out to you that you might not be aware that you're even saying, that you're even embodying, that you're even doing. It's a different lens through which you're looking. And it's also different than traditional talk therapy. I'm having a guest on in a few weeks to talk about some of the differences and why therapy isn't always effective for healing these things. I'm going to start having guests on the podcast more in the new year. Make sure that you are liked, subscribed, tuned in for that. I also want to invite you for a few ways to work together. I have a free guide that I've created, and this is perfect if you are dedicated to using this moment as your starting point. If you're like, you know what? I am willing to get so honest with myself about where I'm at right now in order to truly claim my breakthrough, my up level. I've created a free guide. It's called Goodbye Year. And when you fill it out, you'll have the opportunity to just take an assessment and inventory of where things are at in the present so that you can shift and start to make changes in the new year. I'm also hosting a workshop, which is going to be called Intentionally 2025. I'll include details and links below. This is currently on pre-sale. So if you purchase the workshop, you'll get it at a special rate. And in this workshop, we're going to be talking all about the process of rewiring your subconscious mind to finally believe in yourself, to not just set goals, but actually believe in your ability to make them happen. And not make them happen because they're small, make them happen because you believe in you and you believe in your ability to do anything that you set your mind to. That's the intention of the workshop. That's the whole idea behind it. It's going to be 90 minutes. It's going to come with custom journal prompts, hypnosis exercises that we're going to go through, and just a total breakthrough shift. So make sure you sign up for that. I also am launching my signature program at the end of this month, Align Me, which is total life alignment in your health, your career, and your relationships. I have a process and a framework that I've created that I go through every single time I have an up level and I intentionally trigger transformation. Align Me is currently in pre-sale, and also I have space on my roster available for private clients. If you really are looking to up-level your subconscious beliefs, to finally stop settling for your excuses, to stop getting the same results, and you're like, you know what, I want my reality to shift. I want it to shift now. I'm ready to be on the other side of the lesson. I understand all of this. Yes, yes, yes to everything that's been said throughout the episode. How do I go deeper? Set up time with me. I'm currently offering free 15-minute alignment calls. Set up time to talk and let's discuss. Let's come up with the best path for you moving forward. And it is my intention and my dream for you to have the most incredible start to 2025 and beyond. I want to thank you so much for listening to Princess Interrupted today. Make sure you join me next week for next week's episode. I love you so much.